Hello, trading is closed on November 23rd, 2024. As always, we'll do our disclaimer, go over our calls, make our predictions. It's the weekend, so I'd like to take a look at the longer term picture. Well, this is my trading plan for Monday. Monday is November 25, 2024. Remember, it's a plan. I can change it. I can be wrong. Any trade you make should be made at your own risk. I use many systems, one of which is MEJT, which gives targets, it doesn't give entries. We look for the pattern Friday with the early low, which is this, and Monday should also have the early low. We had a target, 5904.73. We came nowhere near it. Time doesn't run out until early Monday, so until early Monday, that still is a valid target from the system. Now, it looks pretty far away. Hard to see that printing on time on Monday, but I think it should print at some point because we have other lower targets required to print at some time too. This is just a review of what we said. These are the patterns we should see next week. In about a week, we have a Caroline possible change in trend and date. I personally don't think we're going to make a high or a low on this date, but I can change my mind. There's a 3-day window for the date. During the day, MEJT identified a number of moves that called false. They've already retraced and played out. This false move targeted going over this high. We went over that high by 1 cent. That's called a direct hit in the MEJT system. When there's a direct hit, the expectation is you're going to have a very sharp move in the other direction. So as long as that high holds, we don't know if it's going to hold, but if it holds, the system calls for a sharp move in the other direction, most likely with a drop right from the open. And if we take this high out, then the pattern's killed. Before going over the call for Monday, let's take a look at the longer term picture. We have DeMark indicators calling for a top right here. We're not going to have a collapse because it hasn't started yet, but that doesn't mean this decline's over. We're making a diamond, and as long as that's the pattern, diamonds are negative patterns, it should call for lower prices. Now, if we take this high out, the whole idea is killed. But for right now, that's a possible high based on DeMark's work. Let's remember that high for a chart we're going to show later on. Longer term, we have a generational low about a year ago. In a strong rally, I think it'll last years, if not a generation. I think we completed wave 1 of some degree, and the question is, do we complete wave 2, and this in wave 3, or are we making an ABC with C still to come? Those are my two possible counts. Right now I'm leaning towards us making a wave C down, because breadth is not confirming this move, and this just doesn't look impulsive enough for me to be a wave 3, but it's not killed yet. This was the original idea. If we're in wave 3, I really want to see us rally and take this out, but this isn't what I think is the right idea right now. Here was your C. The original idea was this was wave 3. It's just too wishy-washy for me. It doesn't make me right. Here's what I'm thinking. And here was your 1. Let that say we've completed B. And if we're having wave C, we have possible targets just under 5,700 and just under 5,500 for the decline. Now this was the day of the high. It was the day that DeMark's indicators called for a top. And if you measure from this low to this high and take the same distance back, you get this low on the nose. So to the day, we have a low, low, high pattern of George Lindsay. These things call for significant highs, and as long as that holds, we're not only on a DeMark cell, we're on a Lindsay cell. Now, if we take this out, the idea is killed, and that's your stop. But for right now, we have a number of different indicators saying this could be a high of some significance. Let's do the count from this high. We already had an ABC pattern for an A with good fibs. Friday was the first time I was able to count the wave up as a possible complete B. It's possible to count this as A, B, C. The fibs all work and C is twice A. And if you look at wave blue C, you can count it as an A and a B. C is equal to A, and you can count this as an ending diagonal triangle. So let's remember we had a MEJT direct hit, which is compatible with this being the end of a wave up with a sharp move down coming. If this is the ending diagonal triangle interpretation, it also calls for a sharp move down. The target is just to undo the whole triangle. That isn't too bad. But it's possible to count this as A, and this is B, C, D, E, meaning to retrace down to here, and it doesn't break any rules. So we have a number of ideas that this could be the end of the wave with a sharp move down. And if that is the right interpretation, we could have a wave magenta C comparable to this magenta A, which was kind of a doozy. If you take this out, the interpretation's wrong, and that's always possible. You have to have a stop on these things. And if it is wrong, it'll most likely be killed before the open, because when you rally into the close on a Friday, it should continue higher. But if you gap down instead, which I think is on the table at least, it leads to a big decline. Well, Monday's pattern has the early low regardless of where we open. We came nowhere near the 5904.73 target from Thursday's signal. The preferred time frame runs out early Monday. Till then, it's an active target. It's so far away, it's unlikely to print on time, but it still should print at some point. Now, Brett has not confirmed the recent move to new highs. The DeMark and Lindsay indicators both are on a sell for now. We formed a bearish diamond pattern, and there is a wave count compatible with a drop right from the open, implying much lower targets in play. There's always a catch, and the catch is that we're in the most bullish time period on the calendar. And if these sell signals fail, they're going to fail big time, really big. Now, if my count is right, we should drop right from the open. If that doesn't happen, I don't really have a good plan for trading a rally, which will probably ensue. This is just not the time of year I look for drops in particular. It isn't the time of year I look for big drops. It just is pretty unlikely. You're fighting the calendar, but all the other indicators I have are at least compatible with a top here, if, and that's if in capital letters. If we drop down sharply, most likely, right from the open. If that happens, we could have quite a correction here, even though I think the market's going higher for years. The indicators are there. All we need is confirmation by dropping right from the open. And if we don't drop right from the open, if we move up instead, I'm not going to fight it. Because when that's a lot of indicators all pointing to the same thing. And when they fail big. So it's the pattern with the early low. We drop right from the open, there could be a ways to go. But if we don't, I at this point don't have a good way to play it. because then something else is going on. We're not going to know that till we see how we open Monday, and that's today's call.